just an easy class. I signed up to be a teacher's aide at a nearby elementary school while I was going to college. I had, prior to that, absolutely no interest in kids. I mean, I was always interested in writing, but it just never entered my consciousness to think about writing for kids. But then I signed up for this class and just loved it. It was just great being around all the kids, bright-eyed and eager, and not all that jadedness of college. And it was just my most fun thing to do every day was to be with them. And they all called me Louis the yard teacher. So when I graduated college and left Hillside School, I thought I'd try writing a children's book. And all the kids in the book were named after kids I knew at Hillside. And I kept my name as Louis the yard teacher in the book. I'd worked at that school, and then I started writing the book that became Sideways Stories from Wayside School. Finished the book, and then wondered, now what am I going to do with myself? And so I'll go to law school. So I was sending out law school applications and sending out the manuscript at the same time. And I was accepted to Hastings Law School in San Francisco. And my first week there, I heard from a publisher who wanted to publish Sideways Stories from Wayside School. So it was right away I was conflicted because my love was writing. But I didn't know if I'd ever be able to make a living at it. And so I finished law school and passed the bar. And I remember just agonizing day after day, boy, I really need to get a job. Boy, I really need to get a job. And this went on for about 4 years. And finally I told myself, you've obviously made a decision, quit kicking yourself. The vision I have in my head is a lot different than what I can say. It has to be written. But the main reason I don't talk about things is it saps the energy, I think. I mean, I spent 2 years writing The Card Turner, and the story was just inside me and nowhere else. And, day after day after day, living with this story, it's like it's exploding inside me, but I wouldn't let it out, except by writing. And I think if I talked about it, it would take away that energy. I start with an idea, a vision, just sort of like what this story is going to be. And then it goes off on all these tangents and all this rewriting. And I'm often surprised that the final product was what I was thinking at the very beginning. When I've been on this tour, kids often ask me, what do I do when I get writer's block? And what I say is, well, I know I'm going to do 6 drafts. So I just push through it and write anything, just try to get past this wall, and maybe then I'll be able to figure out, where I'm going, and then when I come back to it in 6 months or whatever, I'll have a better idea. And usually when I come back to it, I now know what I want to do, and there's maybe a couple of sentences here and there that work, and everything else just gets tossed. I had a discussion after I'd finished this book. I was at a dinner with Judy Blume, and I was saying, well, I don't know. I turned to her and said, do you ever, wonder after you finish a book if it's just any good at all? And she said, every single book. And which is what I think I feel like after every single book too. You forget, once people start reading the book and liking it, and you get the affirmation, you forget that, oh yeah, I worried about that book too. And with every single book I've written, without exception, there's always a point in the middle where this book's totally wrong. I've gone this far, I might as well finish it. But it takes a lot of patience to write a book. I remember I once spoke at a writing group, and I talked about how long I take to write, and I maybe only write an hour a day and let the story kind of grow, almost like a lab experiment, and come back to it the next day and add a little more. and spoke about how it, you know, takes me that, you know, writing that way takes a year. But then it took a year to write a book. That was, you know, these books now take me 2 years. And one of the writers said, "How can you do that? You know, the advances she got on her books were, you know, were minimal, like maybe $5,000 or something, and you know, she can't spend 2 years on a book that, you know, all she's getting is a $5,000 advance." And you know, my advice is you write, you know, you want to write a great book. I mean, whether you succeed or not, you know, I mean, you know, that doesn't, you know, you can't worry about that. But I mean, the goal should be to write a great book, not to just get a book done so you can get your money for it. And if you do succeed, hopefully then that the money will follow and you'll be able to support yourself.